Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah, you might recognize this background. We were here like in December. We're back in Utah.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's cold outside.
Well, I do have to say it is cold. While we were trying to get everything unpacked and set up and stuff. And so I went and ran and grabbed coffee this morning because, you know, we don't have like everything set up because we have a caffeine problem. So I got up and went outside and there was probably 4 inches of snow all over everything on the car. And I was like, damn it. Mm-hmm. And, turned it on, heated it up, all of that, went and got coffee and so we have our Java, good. And then those of you who also know that when we left here, we left my suitcase here. So it's been like Christmas. I have like all my clothes. I got all the stuff. It's awesome. It's like, and I said,
she's reunited with her.
I'm
stuff.
Reunited with, apparently my stuff means more to me than I thought it did.
We're going to this table's pretty wobbly.
It is. I'm sorry if we're a little bit shaky. So good morning, Karen.
Hey, Karen.
It's great to see you. And also
Jorge.
Oh,
we have 2 Jorges today. We have
54.
George Spatt is with us. Yeah. And George Montemayor from Arizona. So glad to have you here, George.
Yeah. So you don't have to talk about the weather very much. We're going to have a conversation with our guest about that in just a second.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So a quick update. March 30th, we're getting close. That's going to be on a Thursday. Folks know that we're doing this live stream event. The thing just gets better and better. More people, more important information to share. So we're going to want you to be there.
Yeah.
And you're going to regret it if you miss it. So.
Yep. And so we still have this week, the early bird discount ends this week. And it is, I'm going to throw that up there, discount code early bird morning show. So if you go to BHPH Nation TV. Thank you. It's early. I haven't had enough coffee yet. BHPHNationTV.com. The registration buttons are there. If you use Early Bird Morning Show, you're going to get $125 off.
Yep.
So,
absolutely. So,
all right. What else?
That's it. Let's get to talking about reinsurance, shall we?
We've got
our friend George Spatt on the line.
Hi, George. Where are you?
I'm in Alaska.
Yeah.
It looks like it. Yeah. Man, it's a warm place out there, and not compared to.
We know that George is in the Tampa area. That's home base for you, right, George?
It is. Yeah, we cover pretty much all of Florida, and that's about as much as we can say grace over.
I remember you saying that before. That's kind of what you had determined that was smarter for you to focus on that area with the work that you do and reinsurance. And do you do other consulting? Is it primarily reinsurance?
No, we have we have a couple of franchise dealers, and we have some retail independent used car dealers as well. So we do a little bit of everything. We're pretty complete when it comes to any back end profit consulting. Obviously, as you already identified, reinsurance is a big part of that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we met in or had a opportunity to talk in Florida, you were saying that, some of the other big names that you work with them closely as well with, I think you'd said something about Buckeye and.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I mean, that's really when a dealer works with us, they get the benefit of working for the large company that we represent, which would be Buckeye, AVP, and then some multi-billion-dollar companies as well. And then in addition to those, all the benefits of working with that large company, they also get the benefits of working with us.
Sure.
So we're kind of the broker in between. We help really do everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I understood. And those who know George and his son Anthony, that's they're providing an excellent level of service. They're very knowledgeable, very good people to work with. And so we also want to get a little feel. If we've got time at the end of the show, George, I'd like for you to take our viewers through the thing of just about how the structure, like the architecture of how reinsurance even works. When we think about agencies and underwriters and the administration of it, I'd like to kind of take time, if we have time at the end, to really map that out for folks who are newer to reinsurance. But for today, we brought you on to talk about warranties versus service contracts. And, we have some understanding of that, having been around Buy Here, Pay Here for a time and working with dealers who are choosing to get in the reinsurance space. So we have, by the way, an article that George wrote, and we're happy to share that in the comments of the post after the broadcast. But we really just for today want to talk through that and find out, what can you share with us? Just if I'm a brand new dealer and I am trying to decide how to protect, my collateral and make my customers happy. How do I go about the business of deciding about warranty versus service contract?
Well, of course, most of what I say is going to be geared toward Florida, which happens to be a little different than the other 49 states
Right.
When it comes to service contracts. But most of it's going to be pretty much generic because it's federal law. Almost both the service contract and the warranty actually falls under the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, which has been in effect for many, many years. I think it was the mid 70s when it was enacted. So the first difference, which is, most dealers and certainly customers interchange those two terms, the warranty, and they don't even know what a service contract is. They just use the word warranty for everything.
Right.
So when I talk to a dealer or a potential dealer client, we use the correct terminology. If the dealer doesn't want to use the correct terminology, that's up to them. Yeah. We kind of use the same attitude that I think you do when it comes to working with a dealer. We're going to recommend highly recommend some things, but we're never going to tell them how to do their business.
Right.
So they run their business. They're a businessman. It's their name on the line. It's their money on the line. So they're going to do as they wish. But if they've called us in as a consultant, just like you, we're going to make some recommendations. And the first and the other thing I'm going to mention is that understanding that this particular podcast is geared toward almost exclusively toward Buy Here, Pay Here dealers.
Right.
So I'm going to try to sort of focus my comments really on Buy Here, Pay Here and how it affects a Buy Here, Pay Here dealer.
Good.
Because a Buy Here, Pay Here dealer, as we all know, is a lender. So that really makes a difference for some things. So I've said all that to say this. The first thing that everybody who knows anything about warranty versus service contract knows is that a warranty is free to the consumer. And that's the biggest difference right there. That's in a nutshell, that is the difference. The easiest way to think of that, and when I talk to a dealer and explain it, the easiest way to explain it is very simple, because everyone has bought a new car, or certainly known someone who bought a new car, and the new cars come with a warranty. So in my previous life, I've been doing this since 1976. So in my previous life, I was in retail and worked for franchise dealers. I've been finance director. I've been a general manager, most everything on the front end of the store. When I'm talking to a consumer, especially my most recent position back in the 90s was as a finance director for a Chrysler store in Vero Beach. And when I was talking to a consumer after they purchased their vehicle and talking to them about purchasing a service contract, one question I would ask them is, this new Chrysler came with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. So if we decided to take that warranty off, how much of a discount would you want as a consumer? So it was a way for them to really kind of shake the cobwebs out of their head and think how much a warranty is worth. And you can probably guess the numbers were, very different, but quite frankly, most of them sort of centered around the number of $5,000. If I bought this Chrysler without a warranty at all, I would want a $5,000 discount. Well, of course, you can't discount a vehicle and you can't take a warranty off. So that was really what I was getting to earlier when we talked to a dealer about putting a warranty on. You can't take it back off.
Right.
So that $5,000 did several things. It also told them that made them realize that there's some value to a warranty. Of course, my next question, if I'm selling a service contract, would be, so if you had a choice, and would you rather have the warranty that Chrysler offers on the first 3 years or the second 3 years of ownership? And again, they just told me it was worth $5,000. So almost everyone would say, well, the second 3 years, the first 3 years, nothing breaks.
Uh-huh.
So it was very easy for me to now present a service contract in the $2,500 range when they just told me it was worth 5,000.
Mhm.
So that's kind of a little bit of a story, but that's how I sell, is with stories. And frankly, that kind of gives you an indication as to the difference between a warranty and a service contract right there.
So the service contract, I basically, as a consumer, a service contract, I just have to choose it. Like it's optional. I have to pay the price, and it gets added to the price of the vehicle.
That's correct. And there's as everything that a dealer sells, we would want them to make a profit on it. So if you're selling something, you should make a profit on it, which brings us back to the warranty. And with a warranty, there's no sale involved. So typically there's no profit involved.
And we can have the discussion another day about the whole profit piece. I think for me, where I come from, and we had Tim and Taylor Bird from Dealer RE on not long ago, and we talked about the CPI side of things.
They're a great company.
And so as far as we know about, and again, I'm coming from the buy here, pay here space as a former dealer myself, and having done warranties and CPI, I think about it a couple ways. I'm happy to have the profit. I know that every bit of price markup that I put on there, I'm adding to the term in the case of a buy here, pay here deal. So there's that. And then there's also, for a buy here, pay here dealer, there's the whole, if we're talking about a 3 or 4 year business relationship with the customer, then our ability to keep the customer happy and keep them on the road and limit losses is pretty significant in my book. So it's like there's all these benefits that dealers want to contemplate. And of course, when it comes to service contracts, there are third-party providers. If I'm an independent dealer, I can find a provider that I could buy a service contract from. But we might just then cover, let's just stick with service contracts for a minute. If I'm an independent dealer, talk to me about the reasons that it makes sense for me to go with my own reinsured service contract versus maybe a third-party provider.
Well, the biggest difference is that that profit that we're talking about with the buy here, pay here dealer specifically, since that's what we're talking to this morning, is that besides the upfront profit, there's 2 other profits that are often overlooked, and that would be the underwriting profit. I'll explain that in a minute, and the investment income profit. It's pretty easy to understand, and most people know, especially anybody who's driven through Hartford, Connecticut, how big the insurance companies' buildings are. All the big buildings in Hartford have an insurance company name on it. So the insurance companies are in it for those profits. They're in it. They don't make any of the upfront profit that the dealer makes. So there's obviously they're making the underwriting profit and the investment income profit. So the way the reinsurance works, and we can talk about that in more detail if you like, but the way reinsurance works is that there's amount of the premium, which is the price of the service contract, is set aside, or warranty is set aside in a bucket, if you want to visualize that, and it stays in that bucket during the term of the contract. And when there's a claim that's part of the contract, then the money is taken out of the bucket and used to pay the claim. So whatever is left in that bucket, we want to keep with that analogy, at the end of the term of the contract, then that money is now a underwriting profit because it was not needed to pay claims.
Right.
However, it's not really sitting in a bucket. It's actually sitting in an account. And that account is not a mattress or a bucket. It's actually it's actually invested. So depending on where you have your reinsurance company, there's many choices. You can either have it in a local bank, you can have it in a trust account, you could have it at your Merrill Lynch investment account. And at there's certain requirements while it's being held in the reserve for what I call a widows and orphans fund. It has to be available no matter what. So there's very minimal choices you have when it comes to actually investing that money while it's being reserved. But once it's earned out, without taking it out of that account, you could actually keep it in a little separate account and invest it more aggressively and still remain tax deferred. So that's something I didn't mention, but while the money is in that account, it's all tax deferred. You're treated as an insurance company. So insurance companies don't pay tax on underwriting profit until it's withdrawn as a dividend.
Yeah. So the costs associated with doing some of these different things are, it's either it's going to a different company or it's staying with you. I mean, it's not. So let me just ask this. I mean, I'm, off the street, new buy here, pay here dealer. And
no, you're not. We know better than that.
Well, I've been in buy here, pay here for now
2 years.
2 years.
Okay.
So let's say, we talk to a lot of dealers, and there's a lot of dealers out there that don't have a reinsurance program.
Right.
They might have a third party warranty or something like that they've
right.
done. But let's talk about, let's say, and I don't know if you can do the quick math, and Jim will probably say, or seriously, Michelle, let's say that you open up and you're doing something along the lines of, hold on, I gotta plug myself in here because I just got a battery thing. Let's say you've got 200 contracts on the books, and at the end of 200, or at the end of a term, and you've been cycling through 200 contracts. What does that look like? I mean, is that because obviously you're going to have claims and things and money flowing in and out, but like you said, once that contract term is completed, that money no longer has to stay in the bucket to protect all the other people that are on the road because their money is now in there. So, I mean, like, what kind of returns are we talking about that are possible for someone who's maybe got like 200 contracts on the books?
Well, that's an excellent question, and it's a rolling number, of course, because you're putting new business in all the time, and money contracts are earning out at the other end. So it's a constant flow, constant rolling number. So depending on the term of the warranty or service contract, and we'll get back to the difference in a minute, I'm sure, but it depends on several considerations. Of course, the biggest consideration, quite frankly, is the dealer business model.
Okay.
If the dealer uses the warranty or service contract to recondition his vehicles, he's going to have he or she is going to have a very large or very high loss ratio. And that loss ratio obviously is easy to compute, but if you're using it to fix your vehicles, to recondition your vehicles, then you're not using it the way it's meant to be, the way it's been underwritten.
Okay.
Typically, I will say this because I was a vice president with a multi-billion-dollar company before, and I would say typically the billion-dollar companies underwrite their service contracts at about an 80% loss ratio. So the difference is profit. So you're paying a small fee, administrative fee for whatever company that you're working with to handle some of the paperwork and filing with the states and quite frankly, handling the claims. If most companies will handle the claims for you. So you're paying a fee for that, but other than that, it's mostly profit. Now I will say that it's underwritten at 80% because they're insurance companies. They are very conservative by nature. They work with the law of large numbers. So they're looking at making that, a profit. Now, I will say that the average reinsured dealer, and Taylor and Tim Bird, who do a lot of reinsurance, obviously, just like we do, they would probably chip in the same number. that most of our dealers run in a probably closer to 60% loss ratio, and some even lower than that. But it depends on their business model. You know, if you cars break, I mean, we know that they break when they're on the lot before you sell them. You bring them home from the auction, you fix it all up, you get $1,000 worth of reconditioning in there, you put them on the lot. Somebody buys it a week later, and the battery won't. You know, it doesn't start. You know, they break for just being there. So we expect them to break, but we know from the law of large numbers how many are going to break if they're fixed right the first time. We know that. I mean, so to answer your question, somewhere between 60 and 80% would be a loss ratio, and the remainder would be profit, underwriting profit to the dealer.
That makes sense.
We
got a question from Mr. Jason Powers Sr. I have worked several years for providers that offer standard VSC programs as well as reinsurance programs. What do you see as the minimum volume threshold to move dealers to reinsurance?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We get that a lot, Jason, and we actually hear from almost every dealer that we start talking with. That's one of the very first questions, and it really comes down to, again, a lot. You're going to hear me say this, I guess, quite often this morning. It's going to break down to the dealer model. For instance, reinsured, right now we're talking about service contract and vehicle service contracts. So if a dealer has both, then they need a smaller volume. Now, what we haven't talked about is what can be reinsured, and anything that can be insured can be reinsured. So that means anything that has any risk to it can be reinsured. So we have dealers, dealer clients of ours. I mean, we have some that are doing 200, 300 cars a month, and we have some that are doing 10 cars a month. At some point, I'm sure, you know, if you're going to reinsure your CPI, reinsure your gap, reinsure your service contract, reinsure your limited warranty, well, I mean, you've got some volume there, even at 10 cars a month. Because if you're doing those things properly, you know, a good CPI program, as an example, if you're selling 15, 20 cars a month, a good CPI program is going to be at 60% or more of CPI penetration. Your vehicle service contract is going to be, for a buy here, pay here deal, it's going to be higher than that. You know, vehicle service contract penetration, if you decide to offer a vehicle service contract, is going to be higher than 60%. And new car dealers are at 60 or 70% now, selling service contracts on brand new cars that have a warranty already. So, and then you add your warranty, and your warranty is at 100% just by definition. So, and gap, same thing. I mean, gap's going to be a high percentage as well. So even at selling 10, 15 cars a month, I've seen very, very successful reinsured dealers at those low numbers.
So if you were to start a dealer at a volume of 10, as an example, are they going to be asked to start their fund with some amount of money? We don't have to know the number here, but I mean, are they going to need to prime the pump, so to speak, with, you know, by putting some dollars in the fund to start to guard against those early losses?
Good point. Good question. When I was working with mostly franchise dealers, we competed with companies like Zurich. You know, Zurich required a $25,000 capitalization, which is the term that you're looking for, Jim. Capitalization is not required for any of the dealers, any of the administrators that we work with for a independent dealer. The capitalization. So if you have a shock loss, your next question, Michelle, probably is going to be, well, what happens if you've got $2,000 in your reinsurance account and you have a $5,000 loss? You know, it's a shock loss because of something that was unexpected, obviously. The bottom line is there's several ways to handle that depending on the reinsurance company and the reinsurance administrator. Most are going to just allow you, they're going to pay for it and just allow you to reimburse it as a normal flow of business.
Okay. So like that answered one question I had. The other one was, Can you, like, I'm opening up a buy here, pay here. I have not sold a car. I have 20 cars on the lot. I want reinsurance. Is that something that's possible?
It is possible. Again, it depends on your business model. If you're there's a lot of old expressions, and you mentioned my son Anthony, and he's heard every one now since he's grown up in the business. And we've had the agency since I so-called retired from my vice president position. So we started the agency 9 years ago, and he's heard every he groans when I say them. But
Uh-huh.
but all dealers have heard, especially buy here pay here dealers, is that when the car is running great, it's their car, and when it's broken, it's your car again,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
as a dealer.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, sure, you can start a reinsurance company. There are fees to start. Typically, it's going to be $5,000 or less. And by the way, if you want to just, if I can use your squirrel, Michelle, and kind
Nice.
of go off to the reinsurance for a moment.
Mhm.
When you start a reinsurance company, there are going to be some fees involved to start that. But the reason that it started so-called offshore, which means it started outside of the United States, is
Mhm.
because it's a lot less expensive to start a reinsurance company outside of the United States. You can start one in the United States. You can start one in Florida. It costs about $500,000.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
so
okay.
most dealers don't want to do that,
Yeah. Cost prohibitive.
but there are some that do, and we can certainly handle that as well.
Yeah.
But when I say offshore, one of the most misunderstood uh, terms in reinsurance is that term offshore, because most people have this visualization of some kind of Sopranos type,
Yeah. Yeah.
magic thing of offshore and Canary Islands or
Mhm.
something spooky, but it's not. It's offshore for 1 minute, because as soon as your reinsurance company is formed, it's brought back on shore. It's
Gotcha.
only formed in another domicile, typically either this day and age, either Turks and Caicos, or more often now the Delaware tribe, which is considered a separate nation.
Right.
So what I'm hearing you say, because we're going to go down the squirrel hole a little.
Oh boy.
What I'm hearing you say is it really isn't something that you could write off a trip to go visit your reinsurance company somewhere in the middle of the Bahamas. That it's not something that you really could do.
Well, I'm not sure that you can't. I'm not a tax person. You have to ask Amanda that one. But
We do not offer tax advice
we
on the
don't
Buy Here
advise.
Pay Here morning shows.
yeah, thank you, Tim. Yeah, thank you. We're not an attorney, or we're not an accountant.
We'll
But
have to,
frankly, you probably could. I mean, if it was formed in Turks and Caicos and you wanted to fly to Turks and Caicos and visit your certificate, because that's all that's there.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's a business write off because
Yeah.
we're doing business.
Yeah, you said it, I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
question for Amanda and Hugo. So we'll
Question
save
for
that
Amanda.
for later.
Yeah.
So, George, I think we're going to have you back a second time. We try to
Yeah.
keep our broadcast down to about 30 minutes, especially on a Monday. People are busy and on the move. But I think, I'm thinking about one particular thing. I'm wondering on the warranty thing. I learned that I think I was telling people wrong early in my career about a warranty. I understand all the reasons, and you understand all the benefits of somebody using a reinsurance company. But am I right to understand now that a warranty I can actually do, and this may vary by state, but you refer to that Magnuson-Moss Act, if I said that right. But
There you go, Hugo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hugo's like, I'm staying quiet.
Yeah,
Hugo
yeah.
is
He got nothing.
accountant.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question really is, can I do a warranty without a reinsurance?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you asked that, because we also represent companies who are part of the NIADA certified program.
Okay.
So the certified program, your guest the other day was talking about the certified program, the new certified program. It's been reborn again, so to speak.
Mhm.
So the short answer to your question is yes. The warranty can be provided by a third party. Now, I will make this actual point, because I think it's important, is that the warranty can only be offered by two different entities, and that's going back to Magnuson Moss. the warranty can only be offered by either the seller or the manufacturer.
Okay.
Those are the only entities. So even though we represent AUL as an example, who is one of the companies that has the certified program from NIADA. So even though AUL provides the actual documentation and the some of the marketing material and that type of thing, the warranty is still offered by the dealer.
Right.
So, but to give you the short answer, yes, absolutely. We have dealer clients right now who offer a warranty through a third party.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said that everybody knows the difference. I just kind of want to hesitate, kind of want to mention a couple of the reasons for the warranty, because it is important. And the biggest one for a buy here, pay here dealer, besides the fact that you're documenting what you're already doing, which is taking care of the customer. So in it, the other reasons are differentiation, because if you are offering you can offer a lifetime warranty. It's very relatively inexpensive to offer a lifetime warranty, or you can offer a 3-month warranty, or 6-month, or 1 year, or 2 years. It depends on your business model again. So, but you're going to differ from the other guys across town or even down the street from you, and that's really one of the main reasons. The other reasons we mentioned, yours versus theirs, who owns the car when it's broke down. One that's often overlooked, I mentioned in my article, is the type of customer who's attracted to a dealer who offers a warranty. The type of customer is somebody who's security minded, just by nature. So it's overlooked, but when you offer a warranty, even if it's a 3-month warranty, and then you propose a service contract, you're proposing it to someone who is already predisposed to being protected. So your penetration rates are going to be higher. Your acceptance is going to be higher. Your CSI is going to be higher. So, I mean, there are lots of reasons to offer a warranty.
Yeah.
I got to get in one more question.
Okay. Can we ask Karen's question really quick?
Yeah.
Karen asked, I put it up there a second ago, what happens to the warranty if they sell the accounts?
Well, the warranty is offered by the dealer, so the warranty stays in effect. Frankly, I haven't had anyone really bring that up, but I'm sure that the warranty is still in effect.
Yeah,
Okay.
the dealer remains obligated. I mean, that's part
The
of it.
dealer
Offer
does,
somebody a warranty,
even if they
expected
sold
honor.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, would be my thinking too. But so the other question I'm thinking about, George, is just from an operational standpoint. I'm just picking numbers here. We know these numbers are moving and increasing all the time. But if I'm a buy here, pay here dealer, and my typical contract length to the consumer is 3 years, and my risk period in the contract is about 12 to 15 months. We'll pick 12 months. Then as an advisor, if I'm setting up, we can stay with a service contract. Would you be advising that I promote to the consumer a service contract at 12 months or 36 months or somewhere in between?
Well, again, that's really going to be up to the dealer. As far as we're usually, for buy here, pay here dealers, 90% of the time we're going to be recommending a warranty over a service contract. The dealer cost is going to be roughly the same. I mean, because it's the same risk, so the cost is really going to be the same. The difference is going to be that every customer has it.
Yeah.
So again, by the law of large numbers, you're going to be better covered, frankly, if everyone has it. So to answer your question, using a warranty rather than a service contract, typically we're going to recommend somewhere at least a 12-month warranty, maybe 18-month. We have some that have a 2-year warranty.
Okay.
Okay,
Got it.
that makes sense.
So, every answer he gives raises another question. So it's like, I don't know. Next time
we're
we're
gonna have you on again soon.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, it's just we really appreciate you, George. You're always really active when we are doing a podcast with bringing up different points, and one of the things that we really appreciate you is that you are dealer education minded. So,
You're very generous with
very generous.
your knowledge and education, and so
White hat.
I was
Oh, nice!
Yay!
Look at that, another white hat shows up. Yeah. We appreciate that.
That's awesome.
You've been
Thank you.
really
Yeah.
kind to support that, and you
Yeah.
get what that mission is all about for us. So.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and frankly, there's a lot of compliance risk out there. So if you don't, as a dealer, especially a buy here, pay here dealer, if you don't offer a warranty, then you've got to make sure everything else is tight. Because by your as-is buyer's guide, by the way, the buyer's guide violation fine a couple of years ago went up from $14,000 to over $40,000
Wow.
per violation. So I mean, one FTC visit could literally close down most buy here, pay here dealers if you're not doing it correctly. But
Yep.
the point I wanted to make there is that if you're not offering not offering any warranty at all, you may be offering an implied warranty without knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things to have someone look at.
Absolutely.
We should wrap it up there. Like
if you want to stick around afterwards for just a second, we like to just kind of chat with people that have been so gracious to join us.
Yeah.
But, thank you.
Thanks, George. And
Thank you.
Folks can reach out to us, or you can find George. He's on LinkedIn. He's on Facebook. And the company is GEMS, which is Golden Eagle, right? Golden Eagle Management Services.
It is Golden Eagle Management Services, but most people can't say all that, so we have a DBA GEMS.
I can,
very nice.
And I can tell you that George has shared with us, and he said at the beginning of the broadcast, they primarily serve the state of Florida, and he's just been kind enough to share the information. And just remember, everybody, that some of these things we talked about are state specific, so you're going to want to speak to your own agent or get information there that'll somebody that's familiar with your particular state. So
there's some very good advice out there. The dealer guys, Brett, Brett works for one of the companies that we represent. So
all right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Nice. Hey, thank you. And we will, again, all those out there in listener land, we will be having George on again soon, because just what a wealth of information.
More to talk about.
All right. We're going to put you backstage for just a minute. Okay. Let's see, because when I look at our list of questions, there are a few things we didn't even get into.
Yeah.
And so we know from just some communication we've had with George that he's got really deep perspectives on a lot of things that are happening in the industry and rich experience. Yeah. So really grateful that we can count him as a friend, and he's already got his white hat as a vendor.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, we're good to go. Anything we need to, again?
No, just don't forget that March 30th.
March 30th thing. Hey guys, that 125 off ends this week on Thursday. Go to BHPHNationTV.com and use the early bird morning show. One word. Don't say anything, Brent Carmichael. He laughed.
Brent doesn't listen. He's on an airplane right now.
All right. Yeah. Thanks so much, you guys, everyone, for joining us, and I hope you have a fantastic Monday. Thanks again.
Thanks.